You are listening to the Critical Mass Radio Show, Orange County's business talk show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Richard Franzi.
And welcome to this episode of Critical Mass Radio Show and Podcast. I am your host, Richard Franzi, and this is podcast number 1053. Goomi brings on-site classes that stretch both body and mind directly to the workplace. They promote the values of be positive, be real, and be brave. I've invited founder and president, Mika Leah, onto the show today because I want to talk about her firm and the employer's interest in employee wellness as a national trend. Welcome to Critical Mass Radio Show and Podcast.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks for having me.
So, in the spirit of full disclosure, we both are suffering a little bit. Mika has a little bit of a sore throat, and I've sort of got the legacy of this head cold. So we're gonna give you a great show regardless, right? Because we can play with pain, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And I want to thank Joan Garnett for introducing us not that long ago, right?
I know. Thank you, Joan.
Yeah, she's awesome. So let's start with you sharing an interesting story that might help our audience to learn a little bit more of you as a businesswoman entrepreneur.
Well, I spent 17 years in advertising and marketing and sales. And when I came up with the idea for Goomi, I ran it by a few people, and they said, it's great. When can we start? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, don't I need a business plan? And I think I need to get going. And a mentor very close to me said, do you have overhead? And I said, no. And he said, do you need any funding to get started? I said, no. He said, then just do it. Jump.
Go.
So I did. I jumped, and here I am 2 years later.
So what was the genesis for Goomi? And first, tell everyone what Goomi means.
So Goomi is the Hebrew word for rubber band.
Okay.
So we stretch body and mind with all of our classes and our sessions.
Okay.
And a CNN reporter was a lot more eloquent than I was, and she said it was kind of my bounce back to a new life. And I thought, yeah, that's what it means too.
Okay. So how did you focus, though, on wellness in corporate America? I mean, as an entrepreneur, what was it about that opportunity that you said, yeah, of all the things I could do with my talents, that's the thing that I want to do?
Well, I've been teaching cycling classes for the last 12 years, and I had this sense every time I walked into my class, I got really excited. And I felt like all my problems were outside the doors.
Oh, wow.
And I was there to make those 40 people healthy and happy for an hour.
Uh-huh.
They'd walk out on an extra high, sweaty, gross, but feeling good, big smiles on their faces.
Right.
And so when I finally took a step back in my life at a point in my life, and I said, you know what makes me happy? And I thought, teaching my cycling classes makes me happy. But I also knew that I'm only getting older, and I'm not getting any younger. And I thought, what if I could bring this health and happiness to the masses? How could I do that? And then I thought, where is it needed the most? And I thought it is needed the most in the corporate space, just in that I work that 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. in advertising, and that was the norm.
Right.
And I thought, what if I could bring it to people in their workspace to help them get healthy and happy, that they don't have to leave work and they don't have to make excuses. And they can make time for it, and they come back again to their work as more productive and more energetic with mental clarity, and they just feel good all around.
So it's sometimes challenging for a solopreneur or an early stage company to get these large companies to want to do business with you because it's risky and we're going to talk a little bit about a national footprint. I mean, they're going to expect that. So, but take me back. Why are you successful as a company presenting your solution to large companies against what I would assume would be maybe equal size or larger competitors to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the fact that we really truly care about we want to take care of people, and we want to help them in any way we can. So we don't have any minimum requirements, and we really work with the clients to figure out what works best for them.
Okay.
And I think that that's how we really win their business, and then also bringing the best of the best. So our instructors are all amazing. They all have a business sense to them, but they also have a sense of wanting to take care of the world themselves and wanting to make the world a better place. And that's what we look for. That's what we strive for. And I think that shows in our business and in our business model, and the fact that we can customize it to whatever the client wants. They want one time a year, great. We're happy to help you one time a year. And if you want 6 classes a week, we can make that happen too. So
Okay. So one of the things I want to talk to you about, not now, but a little bit later, probably after the break, is the challenges of scaling a national business. So hold on to that.
I will.
And for those other entrepreneurs and business owners out there that are facing that similar challenge, I think we can have a good conversation you might be able to learn from. But before we get there, and we have about 3 or 4 minutes before our first break here on Critical Mass Radio Show. It goes fast, doesn't it?
It does go fast.
Earlier in your life, I know that you had a health scare.
Yeah. So, which is really what led me to start Goomi. I'd been an athlete all my life, and I had 2 kids under the age of 2, and I had just completed my first half marathon after my daughter was born, so about a month or 2 after she was born. And when I started running again, after I took a break for a bit, I found myself breathless with chest pains. Went to the doctor. She said everything's fine. EKGs are normal. It's just stress. Go home. So I kept teaching my weekly cycling classes. And on and off for about a year, I kept going back to the doctor. Everything's fine. EKGs
Really?
are normal. Everything's good. Go home. Stress. And then on my 33rd birthday, I found myself completely breathless to the point I literally had to sit down on a very easy hike, one that I'd done 9 months pregnant. And this time I couldn't even make it the first mile of the hike. And it was in that moment that I knew something was really wrong.
Right.
So I went to the doctor and I said, you know what, I'm not taking no for an answer. And she relented. And I went to a cardiologist, and he said the same thing. It's just stress. Talk to your doctor. EKGs are normal. Go home. And I said, you know what? No. I'm not leaving here without a stress test. Put me on that treadmill. I want to run. Something's going on with me.
Right.
And 45 minutes after stepping off that treadmill, I went right into surgery. Doctor called and said, how soon can you get here? We need to go right into surgery.
So hold on. So the standard EKG tests seem normal.
Yep.
And being a woman, having issues with the heart presents differently.
Yeah.
And they didn't see it until they put you under a stress test.
Right.
What
So
the
a
hell?
fit female and 33 years old.
Right. You don't have any.
Why would I exhibit any symptoms? But yeah, 5 heart stents later,
Oh, my goodness.
I started Goomi, and I did it because I really wanted to let other people know that they need to take care of themselves, and it's not just about exercise, and it's not just about healthy eating.
Right.
It really is about stress, and sleep plays into a big factor of
But
all of that.
your father also had a heart.
Yeah, my dad was also an athlete.
Okay.
Had his first heart attack at 32.
Is
Never
this
smoked.
a hereditary thing then?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is a hereditary thing.
Did they ask you that at the medical profession? Did that even come up?
You know what? It came up after my diagnosis, but I
that's a
think
little
that
late.
yeah, it's a little late. And they say that there is a gene, so I do carry the gene.
Okay.
But I think it's important that as women we know that heart disease isn't just a man's disease.
Right,
and
because you
that-
said the symptoms present differently, like
Yeah,
vomiting and not
so-
what you
so
typically think of a heart attack.
Exactly. So my first run back after the half marathon, 2 miles in to my first run, and I threw up, and I was getting these really bad headaches, and so women's symptoms actually present like flu-like symptoms, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Very different than men. Yeah.
But it's very common in women for heart disease, too,
It is.
right?
It's actually the #1 killer of women in the U.S.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
So it's an important conversation. So that's really why I started
Yeah,
Goomi, though.
right.
To, is I wanted to bring health and wellness to the masses because we are dying of diseases that can easily be treated. 80% of heart disease is preventable. 80%.
80%.
Yeah.
And it's the #1 killer.
And it's the #1
Oh,
killer.
gee, that's just frustrating as
Yeah.
hell.
So we do. I wanted to do my part in giving back and
Right.
and help others and see if we can make those habit changes.
So we're going to have to take our first break
Yeah.
here on Critical Mass
Let's do
Radio
it.
Show. When we come back, I want to ask you about how that exposure, your association with the American Heart Association, the Go Red program, what has been the benefit or the outcome of those
Okay.
relationships? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about
And for
that.
those of you that are looking to scale a national firm, we're going to be talking about that and Mika's experience in the second block as well. So you don't want to go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Stay right where you are. We'll be back in less than 30 seconds after this short word from me.
Richard Franzi is the author of 2 popular business books for CEOs. His first book, Critical Mass, The 10 Explosive Powers of CEO Peer Groups, was the first book ever written on the secret value of CEO peer groups. His second book, now with newly updated information, is Critical Mass, The Power of CEO Guiding Principles. Richard's books contain powerful information to help CEOs running middle market companies gain valuable insight to improve their decision-making skills. Richard's books are available as paperbacks or Kindle versions from Amazon.com. To find them, type Richard Franzi in the search box.
And welcome back to this edition of Critical Mass Radio Show and Podcast. I am your host, Richard Franzi. All of our shows can be heard anytime on iTunes, Stitcher.com, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, several hundred former guest websites whose CEOs have appeared on our show. Since we started in 2009, we've reached hundreds of thousands of CEOs across the country through our live stream here on octalkradio.net and our podcasts, our live Facebook channel. Some of you might be watching us today, as well as our other platforms. Simply type in Critical Mass Radio Show in your favorite podcasting software to find our weekly shows with interesting guests like Mika Leah. She is the founder and president of Goomi. We talked a little bit about the setup for that. I said before the break I wanted to ask you about how your involvement with the American Heart Association and the Go Red for Women movement, what has that done for your business and the momentum behind it?
You know, it's really, I want to say it's helped, but for me, it's really about being the ability to give back to the community and give back to an association that's so close to my heart, pun intended. And they've given me the opportunity to speak and tell my story. So for me, I like to tell my story in the fact that, like I said, I was 33 years old. I had 2 kids under the age of 2, and I was a single mom and going through a divorce at the time. And, you know, and having this moment, this moment where the doctor's like, you almost died. You're lucky to be alive. And to be able to tell that story, I try to do that with the American Heart Association, in that I hope that one day I can save a life, because most people don't think about women. And I think if I had a woman that was younger and fit and in front of me telling me heart disease can happen to anybody, then I probably would have gone and pushed the doctors a lot sooner,
right?
And would be in a different place than I am right now with my heart disease condition. So it's been an amazing experience, and it's been an amazing ride, and I do whatever I can to help them. So I now go into companies on behalf of the American Heart Association, and I'm a passion speaker.
Okay.
So I tell my story and try to help them in any way I can.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been great, and I think the partnership from that standpoint, we're constantly having conversations on. They want to make everyone healthy and get heart disease, like wipe it out as much as we can, and I'm in the same boat. So we've come together to partner, and we try to help each other's businesses any way we can.
So is it helping your business then?
I would say it is, yeah. I've been connected with several companies through the American Heart Association.
Locally here, or?
Yeah, locally in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So in Los Angeles and in San Diego actually now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So I've been connected with both of them in San Diego and Los Angeles.
So I think if we had the gong ready, which I apologize, I don't sense we do, but normally our loyal listeners, there we go. Oh, baby. Give it up for Paul. All right, Paulie, thank you. That is a teachable moment, which means if you've heard the gong and you're kind of half listening, they know to go back 30 seconds or a minute
very cool.
and pick it up, because being able to associate in a good way with a larger organization can really help your marketing efforts, because as we were talking off mic, your story makes you memorable.
Yeah.
And when you're in presenting, it would probably be a point of differentiation that large corporations could remember.
I think the key is finding a corporation that has the same values as you do.
Yes.
Right? Because I couldn't just partner with like the American Cancer Society. Well, it's great, and I raise as much money, like who doesn't want to?
Right.
But for me, the American Heart Association, it means something to me, and those values mean something to me, and their belief and their mission is exactly the same as mine. And because of that, I think it's easy for us to have that partnership and to have that synergy.
Right.
To be able to help each other and help both of our companies grow.
Right. And the fact that and we're going to move on, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be talking about scaling a national company and the challenges just in 1 second. But before we finish that, the fact that you weren't a typical, what people would assume is a heart patient.
Yeah, absolutely.
Young, fit, all that other
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, it makes it even more memorable and real, brings home how much more at risk people might be who aren't those things.
Exactly.
Young and fit.
And my advice to everybody is go get checked out.
Right. And no more than the doctor.
Yep.
I believe in the medicine, you have to be equal partners with your
Yeah.
healthcare providers. You can't let them make all the final
Yep.
decisions, and you're a living testament to
Yep.
that.
Exactly.
Okay, so now we've been teasing this idea of challenges to grow
Yes.
a national company. because you're a small company.
We are. We're a very small company. We just started 2 years ago, but we've grown in scale. We've doubled our revenue from the first year to the second year, and I'm looking to do that again in our third year.
It gets harder as the numbers get bigger.
I know it gets harder as the numbers get bigger.
But
And
still
for
possible.
us, you and I were talking about this, which is the challenge is how do we grow fast and furious, and at the same time be able to maintain the credibility that we have, and also maintaining the quality and finding that talent that we have.
So how you do that?
So for us, it's been I feel like we're on a balance beam, right?
Okay.
And constantly having conversations with people on how do I do this. So getting it out there for us right now, I just spoke to somebody about, for us, it's recruiting. So how do we find the talent as we find the business? So we just added Raleigh, Seattle, and Portland, and Nashville. Nashville's next week. And it happened so quickly because we're growing so fast. So it's like, how do we find the talent? So now we have to go into mode of finding the talent. And somebody suggested, like, let's do it any way we can, and for as little money as possible, right? As little investment as possible.
Of course.
So let's do it in social media. And we did. We put out some blasts in social media, and because we've gotten big enough that our name is known and we have this credibility, that people have been calling us and saying, hey, I want to work for you.
Oh,
I heard from so-and-so, and I heard from so-and-so, and I saw your ad on Instagram, and I'm interested, and I'm located in Nashville, and I teach yoga, or I'm in Raleigh, and I'm a massage therapist. So, but
because you need people across a lot of different disciplines, right?
So we go into any city, and we can do anything that the clients want. So anything in that health and wellness space, we can do. Yeah.
That's a pretty tall order.
It is. So cooking demonstrations, massage. We've done hip hop and salsa classes. We've done meditation seminars. We've done nutritional. We have nutritionists.
Sure.
We even have doctors on staff that have partnered with us to go out and give seminars and make it educational. So, yeah, it's really about what the client wants. So then we have to find it. And that's been our challenge with scaling, because now the clients are pouring in, and we have to be able to book it as fast as we can.
And you have to ensure the person that's delivering the service is of the quality that you maintain for your brand.
Exactly. So I have to speak with every single person.
That's the balance beam, isn't it? Yeah, right.
So I interview every single person, and I listen to Sheryl Sandberg's one of her stories, one of her books, and she was saying that, there was a time at Facebook where she interviewed every single person. It was either Google or Facebook. And I thought, that's going to be me. And it got to the point where she just needed to, like, the check mark. So I know we'll get to that point too, where it'll just be a check mark. But I want to give my stamp of approval for every single person that comes in, because that's the quality that we give to our clients. And
and these are part-time people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not offering, and they're 1099 contractors, so they're free agents.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but they love working with us. Their values align with ours.
There it is again,
right? We only
right?
hire people that their values align with ours. So if they're in it for the money, they're not for us.
Okay. Do you manifest that you believe this is possibly going to happen? I mean, is there any law of attraction? Or I'm serious.
No, I do, and I believe in the universe.
Okay.
And I believe that the universe will give you what you want.
Okay.
So when I was wanting to be a spokesperson for the American Heart Association, I met a woman at a conference. I lost her card. I found her card. I put it in front of my computer. And I kid you not, I stared at this card every day for probably no less than like 3 weeks of like being like, I need to call this woman. I need to call this woman. And then one day I get this email from the American Heart Association. And the woman says, I heard you met so-and-so at an event, and we want to talk to you about being a passion speaker for us.
Oh, my God.
And so I really do believe that you have to manifest. And Grant Cardone talks about this too, like the 10X rule, right? Like think 10X. The other day I was like, I want to do $40,000 in our like third quarter, like a fourth quarter. And I want to do $40,000. And then the next day I got a phone call, and it was like $40,000. I was like, shoot, I should have said $100,000.
I think it's too small.
Oh,
right.
Why aren't I thinking of that 10X rule?
Right.
But I do believe that it is what you manifest, and you have to believe in yourself. And I think that's the difference with entrepreneurs that are going to make it or not make it, is the ones that believe that they can do it are the ones, and there's no other option, no option.
Burn the ships.
Yep. Like, you got to do it. You got to go all in.
Right.
And
committed.
You got to be committed.
Right.
And I found that the ones that are committed and that will do it, nothing stops them. Because there's nothing that's going to stop me. Like, this is what I'm going to do, and
Right.
and I'm excited about it.
Well, the reason why I asked that is I think your model could be seen by some entrepreneurs as too hard. Independent contractors,
Oh, yeah.
any service,
Yeah.
any city, there's a lot
I've
of
been
it's-
told I'm crazy by
right,
a lot of investors.
right. And a lot of people look at that and go,
Yeah.
you can't scale that.
Right,
You're gonna
exactly.
it's gonna crater on you.
Mhm.
And if you don't have a certain amount of positive momentum and belief, you could be that philosophy could be reinforced
Yeah.
and you could give up.
Yeah, well, and realistically, we're all vulnerable, and we all have those moments of, oh
Right.
my gosh, what am I doing? I
Really?
should just get a real job.
Come on,
You
no
know,
no
those
entrepreneurs
moments.
listening to this ever felt that way. They say, hey, it's go from day one.
Right?
It's always
So
better.
To those, I would give the advice of keep going. Like, if you really believe in it, keep going. Nothing's going to stop you. And I read a lot of business books, and I think the theme through it all is like, no, these people had the mission and they had the dream, and they just committed to it, and
Right.
there was no option B. So you got to make this work. And how are we
Right.
going to make it work?
Right.
So,
All right, so we've got 3 minutes left.
okay,
And
I'll talk fast.
faster. Why do you think there's such an interest by large-scale employers in fitness? And what's driving this? You're talking to these people. What's the motivation?
Yeah. So I think people are realizing, well, one, this is the first time that there's 4 generations in the workplace. And the millennials who are coming in and fast and furious, and they're larger than the baby boomers.
Right.
And they're realizing that these millennials they want to be valued. They want to have value, and it's beyond the paycheck. So that's one part of it. The other part of it, I think, is that, these insurance companies and these HR directors they truly want to take care of their people, but they're realizing these BMI screenings and, these gym passes that they're giving, or they're giving out the Fitbits.
Yeah.
It's not inspiring anybody to go do anything. Great, my BMI score was whatever it was, or my biometric screening said whatever, but they're not doing anything about it. So bringing on-site fitness and wellness, which is what Goomi does, it's actionable. Bringing vendors in for a health fair and you're just giving away tchotchkes, it's great, but one of my clients calls it the unhealth fair, because all you're doing is getting a tchotchke. So what we do is we bring it on site with, again, pun intended, but a hands-on experience, literally with massage therapists or meditation seminars or yoga classes or whatever it is, that it's actually getting people the experience of what it feels like to feel good and being in
Right.
tune with their body.
I think you hit that. So of all of you said, the word that I keep hearing you say is it's the experience.
Yeah.
And if you want to change people's behavior in a lasting way,
Yeah.
you have to give them those repeated experiences
Exactly.
that eventually become maybe
Yeah.
a habit for them
Yeah.
and a different way of life, right?
Yeah.
Versus giving them the knowledge without the
Yeah.
support to do it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So you're really an experience company.
Yeah, we are an experience company, and it really is because we want to be that like pebble that like falls in
Yeah,
the water,
right.
and then the ripple effect of like, hey, I go back to my desk and I feel good. I'm gonna tell my coworker, or maybe I'm gonna stay calm when my boss hands me the big project that's due tomorrow, and it's 5:00 at night, and I want to go home.
Right.
So it's really, it is. It's about the experience, and I think employers are realizing more and more the importance of taking care of the employees beyond just the paycheck, and that's really important.
That is important, and
Yeah.
hopefully that's a sustainable trend that you can ride
I
as
hope.
an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
It's great to have those large-scale
Yeah,
macroeconomic
I hope it's
things.
not a trend. I hope it's the way that our society is going, is
Okay.
knowing that we have to take care of ourselves beyond just going to work and getting the job done and making money. It's mental, it's physical, it's spiritual and
It's
emotional.
emotional, right?
you
It's
know?
all those things.
Yep.
Okay, so what's your plan for the business?
Oh my gosh, to grow it as fast as I want to scale it, and I want to do about 10 million in
Okay.
revenue is my goal.
Okay.
I'd like one day, and it won't
Yes.
just be Goomi doing it, but I would like one day that Goomi is synonymous with on-site workplace wellness, and that every company is offering this to their employees. Like, that's my goal, is that one day everybody's going to have it.
Okay. And they'll think of it as a Goomi?
Yeah, and they'll think of it as Goomi, like we do Google.
Yeah, right, exactly. Clean.
Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you become that. Okay, well, put that out there.
I am. I'm
We
putting
just put it out there on
We
the internet. It's
just
going
put it-
everywhere around the
going
world, baby.
everywhere.
It's already come back. It's so fast. So if someone would like to learn more about you and your firm, where do they find you
Yes.
online?
They can go to goomigroup.com, so I'll spell that. It's
Yeah.
GOOM as in Mary, I group, GROUP.com. Or they can email me directly at Mika@goomigroup.com.
How do you spell Mika?
Mika is Mika, at Goomi, so GOOMIGROUP.com.
There you go.
Yep.
Well, you've been awesome.
Thank you so much, Rick, for having me. This was a pleasure. It was so much fun.
I appreciate you coming in, not being 100% with the throat, and
Yeah.
still doing a great job.
I'm glad I made it through.
Yeah, I'm glad you did an awesome job. And thanks again, Joan, for making this introduction.
Yes.
Thank you for being a friend of the program and a part of the Critical Mass community, Mika.
I'm excited.
All
Thank
right.
you.
I want to thank our engineer, producer for today's show, Paul Roberts,
Thank
man
you,
in the
Paul.
board over. Thank you, Paul. And also our other engineers, or producers, I should say, Joan Park, Crystal Nunnally, and Haley Stern. Hello, producing team. If you'd like to connect with me on social media, my Twitter handle is CEO Peer Groups. On LinkedIn, I'm Richard Franzi, Franzi. My Facebook page is just like our website, criticalmass4forbusiness.com. And until our next show, if you're listening to the live stream, that'll be in 3 minutes here on octalkradio.net. I hope all of your business decisions will move your company in a positive direction.
You have been listening to Critical Mass Radio Show Business Talk Show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Richard Franzi.